Just trying to go live here.
Just gonna do some cabling while we're talking. Yeah.
You know, smart this time. I got Twitter and Facebook all queued up to just tell you use copy the URL.
Smart. Smart.
There
Smart.
you go. You're live.
Boston.
So how are you guys enjoying Strange New Worlds?
Oh my God, it's so freaking awesome. Did you see it? It's like the highest rated streaming show now. I read something the other day on that. Yeah.
Is this a show or your life?
Oh, it's the,
Well, I appreciate the question because it really could be either. But in this case, it's the Star Trek show.
Oh, I haven't heard about this one.
Oh, you should check it out.
What service is it on?
Paramount Plus. But also, what's the other one that you found it on, Dave?
Oh, Pluto. I know you could. I listened to
God,
that.
I still can't remember.
You couldn't even remember. I was like, you got to the end of the show before you remembered, or you Googled it probably.
No, I didn't even Google it. What happened was you and Chuck were texting in our group chat.
Oh,
And you mentioned Pluto, and an alert popped up about the chat, and I saw the word, and I'm like, that's it, it's Pluto. I don't know why I have such a hard time with that.
I don't know. It looks like I got a freeze frame of Warren's head off to the side of the screen here, and as I'm posting.
I think you're doing it on purpose now, just to troll me, to
Yeah, okay,
get me on my worst. Next week I'm gonna moon you.
Oh my gosh.
That reminds me, Dave, I can't be here next week
Okay,
because of my mooning, or
because
just,
of Warren.
thought so.
Okay.
All right. Almost there. It's good when you do at a time here.
My goodness. All right, that's fine. All right. You may see me do this here and there. What did I do?
Come on, it didn't keep the format. God, yeah, but.
I'm just confused.
All right.
Okay. We don't talk about Bruno.
I really will be able to be here next week.
What's that?
I'll be here next week.
Oh. Got it. Say no more. All right.
My butt? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh, okay. Who asked you?
Okay, looks like well, except him standing up and playing with his keyboard there.
Oh, I'm here. Okay, I'm not here.
We're ready to start here.
This should be the freeze frame you captured.
Yeah.
I'll be here forever. Go ahead.
All right. Let me start the recording here. My backup. Okay. Pull up my notes.
I really wish I could turn off the recording in progress alert.
I hate that too.
I think it's part illegal.
It is.
That's
Okay.
stupid, though. I mean,
Or episode 204.
they should let me turn it off.
Yeah. All right. Looks like you guys are recording. Looks like I am. Someone say something. So just make sure Zoom looks okay.
Something.
Can't
Right.
believe Warren showed us his butt already.
Yeah, I know.
You
This
missed
is
it. Yeah.
All right. All right. Ready to go here.
At least I have underpants on.
All right. Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 204 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg. My co-host, Warren Sklar, is here at the beach house. How you doing, Warren?
I'm all discombobulated, but I'm doing all right. I'll settle in soon. I just got here, and it's a change, but it's good.
All right, good. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm also glad Jeff Gammon's back. As always, great regular contributor. Thanks for being here, Jeff. What's going on?
Thanks for letting me come back yet again. I know I say it all the time. I'm so surprised you keep letting me back. But yeah.
Doors
so
open.
Thanks.
Might as well
Yeah.
let you in. No, thanks for
I
being here.
get it.
Appreciate it. And I'm so excited to have Andrew Orr back on the show. Andrew, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Long time no see, everyone.
Yeah, I'm so glad you were able to make it this week. And
Mhm.
I think we got plenty to talk about. You've got a few weeks left until WWDC, but we found some good stuff to talk about. Lots of good news stories. So iOS 15.5 was released. We're going to have dig into that a little bit because now we can get real deep into it a little more. And a couple of things to talk about here, but let's jump right into the news for this week. First story is Apple now letting developers automatically charge for some subscription price increases. Apple this week that's implementing a new subscription feature that will allow customers to be charged automatically when an app's subscription price goes up, which is not the way the subscriptions work at the current time. Right now, customers must explicitly agree to a price change and with the cost of a subscription increasing through it, agree to new price interface. If the customer does not tap on agree when the warning comes up, their subscription will be automatically canceled. But that's changing. Going forward, the developers will be able to increase the price of a subscription and have it auto-renew, with customers simply being informed rather than needing to outright agree. Apple says this that under specific conditions and with advanced user notice, developers can offer an auto-renewable subscription price increase without the user needing to take action and without their subscription being impacted. All right, now I'm having a little problem with this because I want to be able to control what subscriptions I want to keep, and if I want to get rid of them, I'm a little worried about this. Jeff, what do you think?
I think this is a crap idea, and it's crap that Apple did this.
It really is.
I mean, seriously. Now, okay, on one hand, I can appreciate the potential logic behind it, where a lot of people might be misunderstanding what these dialogues have been, and then developers end up missing out on a recurring revenue that they should otherwise be getting. That said, no. At no point should price increases happen without my knowledge or consent. And I am totally fine with a system where if I choose to not consent to the increase, my subscription ends at whatever time frame is left before the increase would go into effect. I think this is a really bad idea. I think this is a customer hostile move.
It is.
And this does not feel like Apple to me.
Sure doesn't. What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of this move. I think, Dave, you kind of answered what I was going to bring up, and that is I really, really hope that developers will at least warn people that a change will happen instead of just some secret price increase that you may not know has happened.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with that. And I like what Jeff said. I'm just absolutely shocked that they're even considering this. I mean, they were always an advocate of pushing the fact that you'll get an advance warning that your subscription is about to be renewed, and it gives you the opportunity to opt out if you don't want to continue on with it. And then you got to go through the hassle of getting a refund if you wanted it to not to have it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, at least they do have to tell you, hey, this automatic increase is coming.
Right.
Still, this should always be opt in, not opt out.
Yeah,
absolutely. Got thoughts, Warren, on that one?
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you guys. I mean, it's not really Apple-like to even do that. To be honest with you, and also I put the beta on. So I don't know if it was a beta or if it was from yesterday, but when I opened up App Store, I got some kind of notice that looked like something about if you want to opt into ads or something. So they're doing things that they kind of yell at other people for doing. So, yeah.
Saw that. So Well, we'll see where this goes. I'm not too. None of us are too terribly excited about it here.
This goes nowhere good.
No, it doesn't.
They'll back
Something-
out, I bet.
Something a little better. The people are looking for a little more affordable iPad Air specifically. Apple is now offering refurbished 2020 iPad Air 4 models. They started selling them this week. It's the 4th generation iPad Air. This is the first time since the tab was actually released in October of 2020. 4th gen, of course, introduced the all-display design, an array of different colors, Touch ID on the home button. That was the first one. So it's available in a 64 or 256 gig capacities, $469, which is $80 off, and $549, which is about $100 off. So it's good to see that they continue to releasing a lot of these refurbs, because people want to save a few bucks, and the iPads are an investment. So what do you think, Andrew?
Oh, I think it's good news, especially since, it's still a new device. It's only 2 years old. Maybe that's a little bit old in the fast-paced tech world, but it still is from Apple. So I think it's going to be a pretty solid device, even at that age.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff, what do you think?
Solid device. It's great to see Apple offering the discount, especially since they're going to let developers raise our rates on us.
Okay. Warren, you going to run out and buy another iPad?
By the way, I'm going to be a butt about the Apple subscription thing for a long time.
As you well should be. I think we might have a talk there tomorrow. Yeah. What do you?
No, I've been. This is the last gen, right? The last gen
The
era.
2020 era. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm tempted. I mean, I am tempted, but
You are iPad-less.
no, I got the Mini 6.
Oh, you still have the Mini? Okay.
Yeah.
I can't keep track. You buy things so often.
No, nobody knows anymore. I don't even know anymore.
So check it out. Next story here was Amazon. Their new FreeV service is now available on the Apple TV. Amazon FreeV is also known as the ad-supported video service that used to be called IMDb TV. Now has an app that's available on the App Store for the Apple TV. Wow, yay! According to Amazon's website, FreeV is an ad-supported streaming video service that is available in the US. It's separate from Amazon Prime Video, which requires Amazon Prime subscription and entirely free to watch. But there's no option to skip ads or turn off anything. So it's similar to just like what Pluto TV and a lot of those other free services. And I actually enjoyed watching some of the things that are on Amazon. I should admit I like Judge Judy. That she's
still around.
Yeah.
Is she still doing shows?
Judy Justice. So
Oh my goodness.
it's entertaining, but
She must
there's
be
a lot of other
target.
things on there too. But it is cool that a lot of old shows. I like watching the old match games from the 70s. It's always fun to watch. But there's a lot of new release shows, and it's ad supported. But what do you think, Jeff? I think I'm glad they finally are having it on the Apple TV, because it was harder to watch. You had to either watch on an app on an iPad or an iPhone, or
bringing it to Apple TV was overdue. Changing the name, I think the name is stupid.
Very stupid.
But the other side of it is calling it IMDb TV. Most people, I think, associate IMDb with just being able to find out who that actor was in the one show they watched and where else they recognize him from. And they don't think about the fact that they can watch streaming content there, even though there's always like some big banner about it, but people just didn't see that. So it needed a new name, and
having Amazon on the name Amazon on it I think is going to help it immensely. That's why I said
I agree.
Judy I'm surprised she went with this, and she was on doing her show for 25 plus years. I mean, number one daytime show, but she was able to jump on to this, go on to the streaming world, because she was fed up with the way CBS was treating her. So
yeah, she was pretty pissed off at CBS.
She should sue him for something.
Yeah, she should sue them for raising the subscription rate without telling her. or something like that.
There you go. Good tie-in. You got any thoughts, Andrew?
I think it sounds cool. I've never actually watched anything from Amazon. I don't have Amazon
No.
Prime,
Okay.
but I mean, it's free. I'll check it out.
Yeah, there are some cool shows on there, and I think there are some originals as well. So,
Okay.
only you have to put up with ads, but just like Pluto TV, which is another free service, which I still am blown away that Pluto TV is free, and there's the mass amounts of content. And like we talked about pre-show, Star Trek is on there. They show the Next Generation, and they show other Star Trek stuff, but all of a sudden Strange New Worlds shows up on the free service, at least the first episode. I haven't looked lately. I don't know if they're going to continue on. It might be just a tease to get people to
Pluto TV makes real good sense to me.
Yeah, it does.
If you want to do everything you can to screw Netflix and to draw as many people away from Netflix as you can, because you've pulled all of your content back in-house, then what you need to do is set up a back catalog of free streaming. Because for a long time, that was the big draw for Netflix. It was all the back catalog stuff. Do something like this, and now you have yet another reason not to have a Netflix subscription.
Yeah. And Netflix already, we've talked about previous shows about them, trying to crack down on password sharing and all that fun stuff, and maybe having a streaming model or even other things. So we'll see what the streaming wars just continue on to rage, and I'm actually glad to see it. It's good competition, and it's causing these services to become more competitive and giving us more options for entertainment. So next story here, this is this was interesting. New iPhone tap to pay feature is now already available in the at use at the Apple Park Visitor Center. Back in February, Apple did announce a new system called Tap to Pay on the iPhone, which allows an individual to take a contactless payment only using their iPhone as a payment terminal. With the feature active, a customer can simply tap their NFC iPhone or bank card on the top of the receiving device's phone and enable a contactless transaction. The Apple Store is already trialing it out and rolling out this feature, but the Apple Visitor Center had it available. So I'm hoping to see this get more widely adopted, because I think this is going to be really cool, and it's going to be really cool for vendors who want to sell things and be able to have this and not have to pay a atrocious amount of money they already pay to Square and other types of services. What do you think? What do you think of this, Andrew?
I think it's really cool. What I was wondering is, does it just work with NFC, or do you need one of the newer iPhones that have that U1 chip for like the close contact?
I thought it was NFC.
I think it's just NFC.
Yeah, okay. So you don't necessarily have to have the U1 chip, but the newer iPhones already have that. So
right.
So
it's cool. I hope it becomes more widespread.
Absolutely. With iOS 16 coming, there's going to be even more of this evolving on this. Any thoughts on this, Warren?
Yeah, this is kind of what they said they were going to do, right? They're going to, you're not going to need Square readers, because I think it's going to, I don't know if that's the same technology with the NFC or if it's something different. So, we talked about this in the past, and, definitely paying that way is cool, but we also talked about like adding Apple Cash that way too, because how cool would it be just to tap phones and transfer money? So yeah, it's good. They opened it up. Well, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, people were saying open up NFC, right? This lockdown, open it up.
It's another service. Jeff, thoughts on that?
Yes, I don't think this is actually going to take away any of the fees, because this doesn't sidestep Square or any of the other services. Right. Yeah, this is an API. And I'm pointing this out because I think there's still people out there that are confused by this. So this is Apple opening up an API so that the little portable terminal transaction device companies have yet another way to be able to handle transactions. and saying this is going to cut into their revenue because now they won't sell as much hardware. No, they could give away all of the hardware for free if they want. You pay for the hardware because that's how you show the company that you're actually going to use it. It's not because they need the money for it.
Right.
Yeah. So but it's great because this is yet another way that retailers, especially like the small retailers at farmers markets and craft fairs and stuff, will be able to process transactions. And so that's great.
Absolutely. Next story here. This is actually in conjunction with iOS 15.5 release, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. Apple releases the Swift Playgrounds 4.1 for iPad and the Mac. Following the launch of 15.5 and Monterey 12.4, Apple released Swift Playgrounds 4.1. It's the latest version of the app on both the iPad and the Mac that is designed to teach users how to code and build apps. On the Mac, the Swift Playgrounds 4.1 will add a host of new features, including support of building Mac apps in Swift UI with Mac 12.4 or later, with walkthroughs. And Apple has a full release talking about what's included and all kinds of great stuff. And Swift Playgrounds, I just, time. That's always the hard part of spending time trying to dive in and really want to play with this. And and I'm not a developer by any means, but I think this is such a great thing that Apple's done as far as making it so much easier to code using Swift Playgrounds. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, it's great. And the more accessible Apple makes it, the better off we all are. So yeah, this is great.
Absolutely. Andrew, you thought?
Not really a whole lot to say, but yeah, I think it's good. More like Jeff said, it just makes coding more accessible.
Anything from additional from you, Warren?
Sounds swift. I do have to take off, so unfortunately, I'm going to leave.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
it was
thanks.
good seeing you. Yeah.
Thanks for being here, Warren.
We'll miss you while you're gone.
We'll
yeah.
miss you.
Don't talk about me, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Warren.
Okay,
See you
that
later.
Warren. Oh, he's still here. Nothing.
All right. So next story here. This was super exciting, and I think all of us got an email about this. This was Apple announcing live music that they're going to be streaming on Fridays. The story is actually Apple Music streaming. Harry Styles in concert was going to be a live stream. Actually, it was this week as we record this. It's going to be live streaming some concerts from major artists as part of an Apple Music Live. New feature kicks off with, like I said, Harry Styles. And Apple Music subscribers in over 167 countries can watch the live shows at no extra cost from Apple Music. And this is what came from Apple here, saying no matter how much time and effort an artist may spend crafting music in the studio, it's on the stage where they really get to show their work. Apple Music Live is going to be a newer reoccurring series designed to do just that, give the biggest stars in music the biggest possible platform to flaunt how they connect with audiences and how their songs translate to live performance. I'm super excited about this, and I think we're all here that we love music. What do you think, Andrew? I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah, I think it's great. I'll definitely be checking it out. I think it'd be cool to have a concert every week as opposed to every month, but it's still cool.
Yeah, no,
I think Apple Music can definitely do more to make video content like music videos more easily discoverable, because I think like they do have music videos on there now, and now they're doing with live videos. I think hopefully maybe they can add that to its own section in the app or something.
Absolutely. I was pleasantly surprised to see that they sent that email. The email was kind of different from that article I linked from 95 Mac, but they really just they just went into detail, just basically saying, they're going to have live performances. Hey, that just shows that Apple Music is evolving. What do you think? What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, this is great. I don't think we'll get the days that back that we had when Apple would do their whole music festival in London.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was really cool. So doing this, this is great. I mean, they've always been really good about being pro music and pro artist. So whatever they can do to help keep that going is great. And here we go. Now on Friday evening, we can all sit on our couches, have a bowl of popcorn, and watch Harry Styles sing.
There you go.
And I can't wait to see who's next.
Yeah.
Either. Next story. iPhone made up over half of smartphone shipments in North America during the first quarter of 2022. It was a new report shows that iPhone accounted for over half of smartphone shipments in 2022, achieving a 51% market share, powering by strong performance of the iPhone 13. It just really has been powered by Apple's strong growth, as the analysts have said here. And iPhone 13's popularity has just been the key driver. It's been a super popular device, and it's showing here in the chart here that they had over 19.9 million shipments in the first quarter, and 51% over 27% on Samsung.
Oh wow,
this is some great numbers here. What do you think, Jeff?
It's great, and at the same time, it's not that big of a surprise.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that iPhone is the dominant smartphone in the United States, not worldwide, but definitely United States. Right. And there you go. Now we have more numbers to back it up from not Apple.
Yeah, the Android's going. What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, it's nice. They said, the 13 is as strong as ever. I know that I like my iPhone 13, so yeah.
Absolutely. Next story, Apple launches a new training and certification program for iPhone, iPad, and Mac. Apple has introduced updated training courses for IT professionals looking to be certified in deploying, managing, and supporting the Mac, iPhone, and all Apple devices in the workplace. Apple had previously promoted its schemes for training educators on how to use the iPhone, Mac, and iPad. Now it's announced a more involved scheme for IT professionals. Following its new courses will get people certified in all aspects of Apple technology, which said it was needed. And I will understate that this was incredibly needed because their site was god awful horrible for so many years. I mean, all they had was basically the certifications for being certified in Mac OS, but those are kind of went from the wayside. I buy the Apple reference guides every year and try to get the time to get certified, but it kind of just disappeared, and you don't see too many other places doing this stuff. But I went to the site. I know Jeff, we talked about this previous to the show here, and when I used to share with you guys, and I was like, God, the site is just amazing. They've got lots of great tutorials to go through, and you could easily become certified pretty quickly. What do you think?
I want to be happy that Apple did this.
Okay.
But okay, here's the problem. Why wasn't this done years ago? They don't deserve praise for this.
Yeah.
All they deserve is a seriously, it took you that long. This has been necessary for a long time. If Apple has wanted to really back up the fact that or what they're pushing, which is that they're serious about the enterprise environment, okay, well then be serious about it and commit all the way and have the resources there for the certifications and have them here years ago. So I guess it's the best time to have done this was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. The second best time is now.
Yeah. Post pandemic, or the worst part of the pandemic, probably a lot of people.
This would have been great to have out through the whole pandemic. I mean, there's so many people that could have been working on their certifications because they were sitting at home, not at the office.
But yeah, and it looks like they've got 2 courses so far, but they're partnering with in-person initiatives too, with community colleges and universities that offer in-person preparatory sessions. Because let's face it, some people like to have more in-person training than they do doing it online. What do you think? What do you think, Andrew? I think I'm excited about this, but I agree with Jeff. Was way overdue.
I think it sounds interesting. Is this something that anyone can do?
You can go on the site right now and go through, and they've got a lot of the practice exams and practice sessions. You can go through and go through all the steps for mobile device management, and that's a start. But I think they're going to, if anything, what they'll do, it sounds like they're going to expand this, because they also partnered with Mac Admins Foundation, which will offer vouchers to help students with financial difficulties if they want to get certified, because some people have a tough time affording that stuff. But
well, that sounds great. I'll check that one out too.
Yeah, no, this is good stuff. And in conjunction with that, I wanted to actually mention this. This actually was an article today as we record this. Apple promises changes in Final Cut Pro after video editor complaints, and it's not necessarily for iPad or iPhone, but I wanted to talk about this only because it incorporates what we just talked about here. And Apple has responded to an open letter from video editors and filmmaker professionals pledging to incorporate requested features into Final Cut Pro. Back in April, a collection of Final Cut Pro users penned an open letter to Apple asking that the company to do more to promote the video editing platform to the TV and film industry, as well as incorporate new features. And Apple actually officially responded. And they actually said that to the authors of the recent open letter regarding Final Cut Pro and the TV industry, the creative community has always been so important to us at Apple. We're grateful for your feedback, they wrote. The company added that it has plans in place to address some of the feature requests. It's also adding that it recognizes that it needs to work alongside video editors to support film and TV projects. And they will begin offering certifications for professional video editing in May. So that hasn't even showed up on that site yet. And so it may show up soon in May. And they also want to establish a panel of industry experts in the summer and expand the content and frequency of Final Cut Pro workshops and film events. So what do you think, Jeff? I think this is at least a good step in the right direction, but I think this is another case of, come on, Apple, you took forever to do this.
Yeah. This is one, and I'm not coming to Apple's defense here, but this is one that's just been really hard. Apple was in the position where it was untenable to move Final Cut forward with the code base that they had. Final Cut was one of those products that Apple bought and rebranded. And so they had to work with the legacy of what that code was, and they hit the point where they couldn't. So they had to throw it out and start over. And that's when we had the whole problem with all of a sudden Final Cut didn't do everything it needed to do, or that it did the week before. And Apple lost a lot of customers, and I don't think they've really gotten those customers back. So yeah, these open letters I think are good. Publicly calling Apple out to get them to acknowledge that they need to fix things, and then getting them to say publicly, and we're going to. I think that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, I've never used Final Cut Pro, but I do know it's been a while since I've heard anything about it. So more updates. Hopefully Apple can make it better, and maybe they can get those customers back. And
where is the version for iPad? Are they ever going to do it? That's
right.
I'm surprised that's not even in this article, because that's the biggest thing you always hear complaints about. You got Luma Fusion, which is, I know, Jeff, you're a huge user of that app. It's one of the best video editors on the iPad out there. Why isn't Apple interested in doing this on the iPad? There's so many others that are doing it.
I agree. We're at the point where I assume that like every quarter, Avid and the Adobe Premiere team send Apple fruit baskets as a thank you for not having done more with Final Cut.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're not tapping into their market. Actually, their market is expanding. Yeah, Avid's doing very well with it. Thank you very much. So the good conjunction of the new release of the IT professional certifications as well. So
yeah.
It was good to see. So Anyway, that's the news for this week. Let's jump in. I'm going to talk about beta for this week. And Apple, right away, not even 2 days after 15.5 just got released, they seeded the first betas of 15.6 and iPadOS 15.6 to developers. It was released actually yesterday as we record this. Still don't know what's been introduced in it 15.6 yet, but I'm sure they're implementing a lot of features that were planning to come out. I'm actually surprised, honestly, because since we're so close to WWDC here in the next 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, I think, that they release another version here just before the conference. So what do you think, Andrew? Have you? I know you don't do beta, but I'd just like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't do point betas. I do like the 0.0, like the first beta, and then once we get public, then I drop off. So I'm not running the betas, but yeah, I am kind of surprised to see a release. Like you said, we are so close to dub. So I think it added iOS 15.5. There's some new feature in Apple Cache where you can send and receive right from there. And then there's also something with podcasts.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that just a minute. I just wanted to hit 16 here, just real quick. So it's interesting. What do you think, Jeff, before we move on here?
I think that 15.6 is in beta right now because Apple wants to have it ready for stuff that's coming, will be announced maybe during WWDC. And so they need to have this beta in the works and being tested right now because I think it's going to drop faster than previous betas simply because of WWDC.
Yeah, like I said, surprised. It's only 2 days after the .5 release to go right to .6.
Yeah, but we've also had updates roll out where we have a beta that's leapfrogging before the public release comes out. So Apple doing weird things with timing is not unprecedented.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I think Apple's tipping their hand a little bit. We don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something.
Yep, and that also includes tvOS 15.6 and watchOS 8.7, as well as HomePod 15.6. And Monterey, they went right to 12.5. So they're staying consistent. I like it. I mean, I like that they're staying consistent across all their OSs, and because a lot of times they, especially Mac OS would fall behind, but it looks like they're staying pretty consistent along the lines here. So let's move on and let's talk about iOS 15.5. It was released, like I said, on this week, and some of the features that we've been talking about over the last few weeks during beta. As you mentioned, Andrew, yes, the podcast app was updated. It's going to now finally include a setting that allows users to limit the number of episodes stored on their iPhone or their iPad. It'll also automatically delete older episodes and prevent the app from taking up too much space on their iOS devices. Long overdue, don't you think, guys?
How was that not there from the beginning?
Oh, that's why I stopped using the Apple Podcast app. I have all the podcasts in there, and I like, I don't listen to every single podcast I have. I like to have it in my list so I can look and see what's available. And that might pique my interest. I don't listen to every, like we've all said, we don't all listen to all that many podcasts all the time. There's only enough time in a day to do it. But I like to have them in, and that's why I always like Pocket Casts, because it lets me just have them all in my list, and I can go in and jump and listen to it when I want to. But yeah, it was long overdue, and I think that they're trying to they're trying to be relevant with their app, because there's a lot of other third-party ones that we all have our favorites that they like. So did you have any other thoughts, Andrew, on this?
The other thing I was trying to think of was they also offer annual subscriptions now for creators. which I think is nice. I think annual is maybe more of like a stability thing, like that's more in the future. So I'm sure that gives the creators a better look at, their finances.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's going to be a big wave here. Apple has already been pushing, trying to get like you said, content creators to be able to have an option to be able to have a subscription type service. I don't know if they're going to make huge amounts of money on it, but at least it gets, it gets some activity and gets some interest with that. So the Apple Cash Card is now, and I'm really happy that they did this. If you go into your wallet, go to the Apple Cash Card now, you don't have to dig deep to find the place to tap the request and the send button. You just go right to it.
I hadn't looked at that.
Yeah, so you're able to actually much easier to manage your cash.
Right there, request and send right there.
It's right there in the card, so you can do a quickie to be able to do that. So, so that's huge. So that's another improvement. All available for you now. So, and we're going to talk about security here in just a minute. And so I'm so glad we have Andrew here this week. We could talk about the security portion of this. That's a big piece of this. The Home app now has Wi-Fi signals bars that you can actually ensure that your HomePod is on a connection that has a connection in the Home app. What a concept. So, and I know, Jeff, you've always had voiced your opinions about the HomePod and its frustration, HomePod Mini with this. And we'll talk about the HomePod update here in a minute. But no, this is great to see. This is there. And interestingly enough, Universal Control finally is no longer in beta. So that means the feature is officially launched and that the bugs have been squashed. So you've got although I know we talked a couple of weeks ago, you were having problems with Sidecar and the iPad, but at least I'm seeing the Universal Control is going to be something.
I haven't had a chance yet to test after doing the updates. So I'll have to report back later on if it's working for me.
Absolutely. I guess now the Apple Card is now referred to as refers to the physical Apple Card as the titanium card. I didn't even notice that one. You go in the Apple Wallet. Does it actually say you look at the card and where does it say that? Maybe you tap the card, the virtual card number. I don't know. See where that says that. Weird. Okay, that's what
maybe it's in support stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. And external links in the Reader apps. iOS 15.5 adds support to the external link account entitlement that designs to allow Reader apps to add a link to an external website for account creation and management purposes. An external link will allow the app to, like Netflix, to offer a way to sign up for an account outside of the App Store and its in-app purchase system. Long overdue. We've been talking about this for a while. And so glad that they're doing this. And remember, we had a discussion about this one, photo memories. It's a bit of controversy here. 15.5 adds this list of sensitive locations in the Photos app, which means that those locations are blocked from showing up in memories. Including in this list so far, it's all that's been found is various concentration camps and Holocaust memorials. So they won't show up in the photo memories. I still don't understand that. So I'd like to know where this is going to expand on. I mean, are they going to go? They're obviously going to go beyond this, and this list could start growing, I would think.
I would assume it's going to start growing.
You would think, but interesting that they started with that. So
yeah, and if they're going to have that, are they going to add in U.S. internment camp locations?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be facetious. Like, I mean, seriously, what's going to be the criteria? That's
a good question. And then I think, as I've been scanning the news and others that have been talking about it, it's unknown where this is. And Apple was, we mentioned in the previous show, that this has been something that's been kind of quiet. They really haven't said much about it, and it was kind of like a hidden. That's what grabbed our attention. We talked about it a few weeks ago. Why is this? This was like a kind of casual mention, but it is kind of interesting. Yeah. Did you know about this? Did you know about this, Andrew, at all?
Only a little bit. I just saw it briefly in the news. So, does it happen automatically, or is this like a toggle?
There's no setting.
There's no setting.
Oh.
You have no control of it. So like, I mean, basically the photo memories, as people don't know, you've got your photos that you have grouped up and it just brings up memories of places and things you've done. And I mean, it's kind of a fun thing and it does, but it's going to avoid, and I like to know how it's going to know that those were other than probably the if it senses what the location was when you took the photo. It's probably
Yeah. Is it going to have context for that though? Like,
yeah.
If I take photos at the White House in the United States, okay, maybe I want those included in my memories.
Yeah.
But if I was taking those photos on January 6th, well, maybe not.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be interesting to see where that goes. So anyway, we talked that to death a few weeks ago. I don't think we know where that's at. So, but I wanted to tap it a little bit with you being here, Andrew, is to talk about the security updates here. And Apple actually did a good job of actually providing what the security content of everything was with iOS 15 and iPadOS 15. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at this, Andrew, but
a little bit, yeah.
There's quite a bit of bugs that they've had to squash with kernel panics and launch services. Anything that stood out to you?
So the article that I was reading was this, these researchers, I think it was recent. I think maybe 15.5 patched this. So these researchers in Germany, they found a way to deliver malware to your iPhone. I think it was via Bluetooth, even when your iPhone is turned off. Now, thankfully, it only works for jailbroken iPhones, but the researchers were like, what if this could be, spread in some way to non-jailbroken broken iPhones? But it sounds like it is patched now.
Yeah, that's a good thing. But just really, you go through this list. This is a long list of stuff.
It's amazing how many things on this list under the
Wi-Fi
impact section say malicious applications can be installed, or malicious code can be installed, and privileges can be escalated. That's the way of saying someone can inject something in that allows them to become an administrator or act as an administrator on the device.
I mean, 4 things talking about Wi-Fi alone is a malicious application can disclose restricted memory. I mean, we could go on and on here. WebKit, a lot of WebKit issues. Shortcuts had a bit of an impact too.
Look at that! You can do a denial of service on a device over Wi-Fi. That would suck.
Yeah,
you keep rebooting your device and it just crashes.
Yeah.
And notes. It said it's impact processing a large input may lead to a denial of service. Yeah, I mean, it's just on and on. So anybody interested, I linked to the actual support article from Apple, so you can take a look at what security content is. So what does this tell you? You need to update now. Don't wait.
I mean, this is an important update.
This isn't, even though this is a incremental one update, it's huge. So don't hesitate. I'm going to tell everybody and tell your friends, everybody, you need to update. There's a lot of security updates here. So
yeah,
super important to be checking that out. So HomePod, and I won't talk about watchOS. There really isn't much in there. HomePod, I didn't really notice anything huge as far as 15.5. I don't know if you noticed anything, Jeff, but
it's still a dumpster fire. It is still as broken as it's ever been.
And it's still annoying, and you still have to go in and update it because it doesn't do it automatically. It's supposed to. You could set it to do it automatically, but I went in there and it still wasn't updated. And then I went to run it.
Yeah, I think it can take a couple weeks for it to auto update.
Yeah, I mean, I went in and I thought it was like it said on my HomePods, my pair, that not even 15.41 was on it. I'm like, what the heck?
I had that same thing happen with my HomePod minis, even though they had previously been updated. When it was doing the download, it said that it was downloading 15.41, and when the updates installed, it said it had done 15.5.
Yeah.
So this is not making me feel very confident.
Nope. So, and again, we got articles linked here in the show notes. with the podcast, we just talked about the episode controls, daily subscription trans, and hosting partnerships is another thing. And I was going to talk a little bit about iOS 16, but we're going to hold that off to next week because that's it's going to have some major changes, but it's all rumor. So we'll just kind of have to move on and skip that for today here. So I wanted to also talk about carriers. This article today, and I thought this would be something we could talk about here. What's the best phone carriers out there? Verizon versus T-Mobile versus AT&T, and the more affordable iPhone plan alternatives. This is a long article that was on 9 to 5 Mac here, and I wanted to just to kind of talk about our experiences and where we are with this stuff. I think eSIM is really coming to being as far as the device and your iPhone, and I really love the fact that now you don't even have to have a SIM card anymore. eSIM is just working really well, and it's looking like T-Mobile and Verizon and Visible, which is Verizon's MVNO, that they're taking advantage of a trial, so you can actually do a trial of testing the Verizon network and the T-Mobile network using an eSIM. So if you have, because that's what's the hard part, and you were never able to do a trial because you'd have to go into the store, get a physical SIM, put it in your device to get it to work. So here's an opportunity, because that's the first thing that people complain about is the fact that the carrier may not be good to where you live. Andrew, where you live is what service do you have, and is it good for you?
Yeah. So I use what you mentioned, Visible. That runs on Verizon's network. I think it's great. I've never had any issues with it. I think it was probably a year or two now, but I'm pretty sure I did do that T-Mobile, download the eSIM, test drive our, I think it let you test drive the network until you hit maybe 15 gigs. And I thought that was fun.
Yeah, that's great. And be able to not have to pay for it if you're not happy with it. So, And Jeff, you have AT&T, you've been happy for it in your area.
Yes. And when people ask me what carrier should I go with, I ask them which carrier gives you the best coverage where you're going to use your phone the most.
Right.
And that's how you make your decision. And for me, it's been pretty consistently AT&T. But if I lived in a different part of Boulder, then I would have Verizon instead, because it just depends on where you are.
For me, I had AT&T for many years and decided to jump ship, went to T-Mobile about, almost 3 years ago now. And T-Mobile has been great. I mean, we've got really good coverage here. The 5G here is pretty phenomenal, being in the Chicago area. So I know 5G may not be as good in your guys' areas as mine, but it's a good thing to see. And you can look at some of the other carriers like Visible, which is a good option. I know AT&T does Cricket. You also have Mint Mobile, which is T-Mobile. Ryan Reynolds owns that company, and you're seeing tons of advertising about them. So check out the MVNO carriers, which kind of piggyback onto all these major carriers. And check for yourself and see what the incentives are available. This is a great article. Take a look and review this and see where that goes here. So I think it's something definitely to take a look at and be interesting about it. So
Dave, I think the MVNO thing is actually really important. So how about if I modify my advice, which is find the carrier that gives you the best coverage where you can use your phone the most. Yep. Now find the MVNO that uses that carrier and see what deals they offer, because you'll probably get a better deal through the MVNO and you still get the same coverage. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because for example, Visible, that's very affordable. Like you get unlimited everything for $40 a month. And they have this thing called Party Pay where you can like join up with other people and like reduce everyone's bills, get reduced.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know that. I completely forgot about Visible. That's a definitely interesting concept they've got with that.
Mhm.
And Verizon was smart because I don't see too many MV. Well, I guess Xfinity is on Verizon's network. I think about it. They've been pushing many areas to jump on their mobile service, and I avoid them. I have enough of a challenge paying what I pay for for their internet and cable service. So
Yeah.
I tend to avoid them. So anything else you guys want to talk about on that topic? We'll move on here.
I just want 5G. Give me my 5G.
Yeah, well, they need it up by you. It's probably it's a little tougher up by you.
Yeah.
It's
They have it in
more-
lower Michigan and the big cities, of course, but it'll
Right.
take a while to get up here.
Yeah.
And
Once 5G started rolling out here, it's actually been pretty fast to watch it expand. Like this time last year, I had to drive over and sit in the middle of the Target parking lot in Boulder, and I could get a crappy 5G signal. And now I have a solid 5G signal like all around me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I was in Michigan, I went in the lower, and had been within the last year, and I was in the Traverse City area, and heading up towards where you are, and it seemed like things were getting better as we drove up there, because I did a nice journey along the west coast of Michigan.
Nice.
So some of those areas can tend to be a little rural, but I think they're getting smarter and adding more and more towers, and everything needs to be expanded to 5G, and the spectrum has changed. So let's hope. I mean, because like I say, not necessarily where you are, any place that has rural areas, that's where the challenge is having this 5G coverage. Because they're also, T-Mobile and a lot of the other services are trying to push the home internet with 5G.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
I think that'd be interesting to try.
because I did try I tried the 4G. I got their modem for a period of time and tried it, and then I because they let you do a trial, and I checked it out, and it was nothing great. I mean, the 5G coverage in my house is not as good. It's okay. If I look on my bars right now, I'm only getting like 1 or 2 bars right now on the 5G coverage here, sometimes depending on where I am in my house. So coverage here, but if I go down the street, like Jeff, I mean, there's huge towers down the street here, and I stood in front of it, and I'd be getting 500 and 600 megabit plus speeds, not a problem on 5G. So, but it's good stuff here. So, let's talk about this real quick here. The iPod Touch, we did talk about that it died. It's gone. It is something that it just lives on, and the music does live on. But what could replace the iPod Touch? I don't think at this point in time. Obviously, when Apple discontinues something, as we talked about this, people love to jump and buy it. But I mean, they spent $200 for a device that's got an A10 processor that's iPhone 7 processing speeds. So it's really old. So I mean, what are you going to get? Maybe 2 years of support on that chip, if that. I mean, I think the iPhone 7 is probably going to, and this device, I don't even know is going to be supported by iOS 16 at some point. So it's not kind of worthy of this. What would you, Jeff? What would you say if someone says, "Well, I really want something as a music player, but I don't want to have an iPhone. Don't want to I don't want to have to pay for iPhone type service." What would be other alternatives? Do you think?
I tell them to look at used iPhones and buy one, and don't put a SIM card in it. I would tell them that they can gang up features, and like if they wanted to have an iPad to do a lot of other things, well then okay, maybe that's your music device. Yeah, but at this point, telling someone to go and find a used iPod Touch, that's a really hard sell. I mean, unless they were like really low priced.
But they're not, because you go on eBay. They're like, people are insane amounts of money for these iPod Touches.
Yeah, well, and even before they were officially canceled, the eBay prices for iPod Touches were way too high.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just find someone that's selling an old iPhone and just
Yeah,
Go with
or you
that.
can buy like an SE, even if you got the previous gen, not the 5G, even the 4G iPhone
Yeah.
SE, you probably can those could be
Sure.
had for a good price. And you got it as an option if you want to have it to have a phone at some point, or even the current version SE, you spend a little extra money on it, but it's going to last you for probably a good 5 years, and you don't have to have a SIM in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And
If you pay cash for it instead of doing it
Yeah.
as an installment plan, then you get an unlocked device. And then you can just not put it on a carrier and it'll work just fine.
yeah, like an iPhone 12 or 12 mini might be a good choice too. But the one thing you do have to be careful of is buying secondhand iPhones, because sometimes you don't know what you're getting into. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
buyer beware. What would you do, Andrew? You something? Is that what you would tell people if they asked you what the?
Yeah. My answer was the same. Maybe find an old iPhone, because I don't think they have those cheapo MP3 players in stores anymore, because I haven't
No.
used one in years.
No.
See what's on Amazon.
Oh, yeah. Who knows if there's any of those around. I did post something, and I was able to get a hold of some old iPods. I got my hands on an old first generation iPod. I took pictures of the 3 models I had. I put it on social media, and it was kind of fun to go back and be nostalgic, looking at that first generation iPod
Yeah.
with the FireWire connector. And it was just
There's like this whole market of
There is.
garbage MP3 players that look like knockoffs of
Yeah.
old iPods
Oh, wow.
on Amazon.
Oh yeah.
For $19.99, you can get there's not even like a name on this. But it looks sort of like, remember the old iPod mini where it was
Mhm.
like you took a toilet paper tube and squished it, but it was made out of metal. $20, 16 gig. Oh no, it comes with a 16 gig memory card, so you could put in a different memory card and have more storage on it. Oh my god, you can even find stuff for like $50. Or oh my god, the Hi-Fi Walker H2 high resolution Bluetooth MP3 player, DSD DAC, portable digital audio music player with memory card and HD something something. Isn't that a great name? $125.99.
Oh my gosh. But anyway, that's something with with music players. But if you have an iPhone, what do you need anything else? You just use your iPhone to listen to music,
Mhm.
and that's the reason why the iPod is off into the sunset to the history here. So I found this article. This was a good, interesting tip, but I wasn't aware that this did this. How you're able to silence an alarm on a family member's iPhone, and when you're using your own iPhone. If you do live in a family's household, there's a good chance that at some stage you'll be able to be disturbed by someone else's alarm going off on their iPhone. Believe me, I experienced that many times. But of course, the iPhone is out of reach, so you have to sit and listen to that alarm for forever. It becomes quite irritating. But if you own an iPhone or an iPad and it's nearby, there is a handy trick that you can actually silence that alarm without you having to get up. So next time that you hear that alarm, you go to a family member's iPhone and your own iPhone or iPad with an earshot and simply say, "Hey, yes, lady, turn off the alarm on this person's iPhone," or the name of whoever's iPhone it happens to be. Siri will ask for you to confirm that you want to stop the alarm going off on the person's iPhone, and you can respond with a yes or no. You can also tap the same 2 on-screen options that are on there too. That pops up on the screen. I didn't know this was on here. And
No.
I think, and I could do you can do this on the HomePod too.
This is for family plan,
Family plan,
subscriptions, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to be family plan, right? Family household. So, I mean, so we do have, like my wife and I are on our family plan. So, I mean, and this may not apply to you guys, but I thought this was interesting, because there's sometimes a lot to say. I mean, yeah, if you got your friend next to you that you're not on your family, yeah, you're not going to be able to turn their alarm off unless you go up to their phone and do this. But this is a great way to be able to shut that sucker off here. So, but
Yeah, I think it's cool.
yeah. So, and let's go ahead and wrap this up for this week. We are at the top of the hour, and this was a great show. Appreciate y'all being here. So let's go ahead and wrap up. That is a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. Support the show. Buy me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You can also become a Patreon of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We would really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you are notified when we are live streaming on our YouTube channel, which is on usually Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, at youtube.com/DaveG65, where we have all the past shows in audio format, as well as all the live streams that we've done. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discussed, including today, are flipped into that magazine. Good place to check out those articles if you don't already see it in the show notes. That link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including the Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65. Jeff Gamet, as always, thanks so much for being here. Where can people find you?
Well, as always, on Twitter and Instagram, JGamet on both. YouTube.com/JGamet for my occasional videos. And Tuesdays on Mac Voices Live, Thursdays early in the day on the big show, here with you Thursday evenings, and then back again Friday mornings with you on the Mac show, and then also on the Context Machine with Brian Chaffin.
Yep.
So
sure go listen to that latest episode. That was a great show about Picard and Star Trek.
Yeah, it turns out that there's a lot of Star Trek trivia that I assumed Brian knew. So I had to give him a little bit of learning.
Yeah, there you go. Andrew Orr, thanks so much for coming back on the show. We really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And where can people find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Right now, you can find me on Twitter at Andrew or Not. And for now, that's really the only place you can find me on. I might be on other platforms in the future. Who knows?
Let's hope. So we're going to be looking for you. But thanks again for being here. Really appreciate it. And thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show, because we enjoyed doing it. And we'll get talk again soon. Thank you, guys.
Good show.
As always, that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fun. Yes, it was lots of fun. Then Warren left us early.
So he's at a beach house?
Yeah, he has a beach house and a regular house, I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I could say that I have a beach house as well if I just set up a cardboard box down on a Boulder Creek.
I have a lake house.
Yeah.
It's all the way to go. But let's go ahead and say goodnight to the live.